Dear students of class 10th, today we will discuss agriculture, which is the fourth lesson of the chapter. So, with regard to the term agriculture, it has been derived from two Latin words, ag, which means land, culture, which means cultivation. So, the literal meaning of agriculture is land cultivation. However, in modern days, we are including animal husbandry, forestry, and also pisciculture in agriculture. So, in a very simple sentence, if you want to define what we can say, the art and science of growing of grains and rearing of animal is known as agriculture. So, with regard to the importance of agriculture, you can see the statement given here. Agriculture is the most healthful, most useful, and most noble employment of the man. So, this statement was given by George Washington. So, this statement is showing you the importance of this activity, that is agriculture. So, with regard to the agriculture in our country, in India at the present time also, agriculture is playing important role in the economy of our country. So, we are calling economy of our country as agro-based economy. At per your textbook at the present time also, two-thirds of the total population of our country is engaged in agricultural activity, and nowadays about 60 to 65% of the working force is engaged in agriculture sector of our country. After that, we will discuss about the types of agriculture. With regard to the types of agriculture, in India, farmers are practicing different types of farming, different types of agriculture. So, the factors which are influencing agriculture can broadly be classified into two main categories: physical factors, which include soil, climate, relief; economic factors, which include the socio-cultural development of the labor, capital, market, transport. So these are the economic factors, and all these factors have been influencing the type of farming in our country. At present, in different parts of India, following farming systems are practiced: primitive subsistence farming, intensive subsistence farming, and the commercial farming. Now, let us discuss about the different farmings one by one. First, we will discuss about the primitive subsistence farming. So, with regard to the primitive subsistence farming, from name itself we can very easily understand primitive means very old. The type of farming which has been practiced by the farmers since very ancient time, very primitive time. Subsistence in the sense the type of farming which is practiced by the farmer for self sustenance, means to fulfill the personal need of food. So, in very simple sentence, what we can say, the type of farming which is practiced by the tribal people on a small patches of land with the help of primitive tools like hoe, dog, and digging a stick is known as primitive subsistence type of farming. Here, from this topic, we will be getting the question: mention the characteristics of primitive subsistence type of farming. So, first point, what I told in definition, that this in this type of farming, primitive tools are used by the tribal to grow grains. Another point what we can count here, generally the family members are working as laborers in the farm, and this type of farming totally depend upon the natural fertility of the soil and also on monsoonal rainfall. Very good example of primitive subsistence type of farming what we can take here, that is slash and burn agriculture. This is the very good example of primitive subsistence type of farming. So with regard to the slash and burn agriculture, this is the type of farming which is practiced by the tribal people by clearing the forest, means slashing the trees, cutting down the trees, and after that residue is burnt, and then farmer is growing grains. And as this type of farming totally depend upon the natural environment, or you can say the natural fertility and monsoonal rainfall, so when the piece of land loses its fertility, the farmers are shifting to the another plot of land. So it is also known as shifting agriculture. So this type of agriculture is known by different names in different parts of our country and also in different parts of the world. So in India, this type of farming, the shifting agriculture, is known as zooming in northeastern states like Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Nagaland, Palmo in Manipur, Deepa in Bastar district of Chhattisgarh, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In the same way, shifting agriculture is also known by different names in different parts of the world. Like it is known as milpa in Mexico and Central America, roca in Brazil, ray in Vietnam. So you will learn by heart all these local names, because in a very short answer type question you may be getting to mention the local names of shifting agriculture. After that we will discuss about intensive subsistence type of farming. So with regard to the intensive subsistence type of farming, this type of farming is practiced in those area or regions or the country where cultivable land is limited and the density of population is very high. You can take the example of Great Northern Plain of India. So due to right of inheritance in our country, the land owned by the parents has been distributed among the children. So the land holding size has become uneconomical in our country, and due to which the output what we are getting, the total output what we are getting from the arable land of our country is very small. Though if we are talking about intensive subsistence type of farming, the per hectare yield is high, but total output what we are getting, that is very less. So now let us discuss about some of the characteristics of intensive subsistence type of farming. Here per hectare yield is high. Farmers are using all the modern inputs like fertilizer, pesticide, high yielding variety of seeds, and also other modern agricultural implements in the farm what they can use to get maximum output. The land holdings are very small in size in intensive subsistence type of farming. Farmers are growing more than one crop in the same field, and it is a labor intensive type of farming. So these are some of the characteristics of intensive subsistence type of farming. Now we will discuss about commercial type of farming. So with regard to the commercial type of farming, in very simple sentence what we can say, this is the type of farming which is practiced by the farmer to sell agricultural produce in the market according to the geographical condition and market requirement of an area. So in commercial type of farming, generally the farmers are using all the modern inputs. It may be in the form of high yielding variety of seeds, chemical fertilizer, insecticide, pesticides to get maximum production. And with regard to the degree of commercialization of crop, that may vary from one area to another. If we'll take the example of paddy, that is, or you can say the rice, in the state of Punjab and Haryana, it is cultivated as commercial crop. But if we'll take the example of Orissa, if we'll take the example of Jharkhand, in these states, paddy or rice is cultivated as subsistence crop to sustain their family. After that, we will take one example of commercial type of farming. So plantation agriculture is good example of commercial type of farming. In this type of farming, single crop is grown over a large area, and from that single crop, farmers are able to get agriculture produce for several years. So, with regard to the plantation agriculture, which is an example of commercial type of farming, it is having interface of agriculture and industry, in the sense as the maximum output is there, production is there, so it is said that it is having interface of industry also. In this type of farming, there is a maximum requirement of capital, so it is said that plantation agriculture or commercial type of farming is capital intensive type of farming. So if you want to count some of the characteristic of commercial type of farming, so what we can count here, first one, land holding is very large. It is done on large scale, and most of the farm activities are carried on with the help of modern machinery. Per hectare production may be less, but total production is very high. This type of agriculture is practiced generally in the developed countries of the world. In India also, some of the plantation crops what we are growing like tea, coffee, rubber, sugar cane, banana, these are the examples of some of the plantation crops what we are growing. So with regard to the tea, it is cultivated in Assam and northern Bengal. Coffee is cultivated in Karnataka. So these are some of the examples of plantation crops which are cultivated in different regions of our country. Now we will discuss about cropping pattern. So with regard to the cropping pattern or the cropping season, all of you know that what we have discussed about the physical factors and the economic factors. So due to all these factors, in India we are having 3 cropping seasons: Rabi, Kharif and Jaid. These are the 3 cropping pattern or the seasons in our country. So with regard to the Rabi season, in Rabi season, generally we are growing winter crops, or we can say the crops which require less temperature and amount of rainfall. So the Rabi crops or winter crops are cultivated from October to December, and they are harvested in summer from April to June. The important Rabi crops which are cultivated in India are wheat, barley, peas, gram and mustard. After that, Kharif crops. So with regard to the Kharif crop or Kharif season, this is the summer cropping season, and Kharif season starts with onset of monsoon in different parts of India, and these crops are harvested in September to October. Important crops which are grown during the Kharif season are paddy, maize, jowar, bajra, arhar, moong, urad, cotton, jute, groundnut and soybean. After that, we will discuss about the third cropping pattern, that is Jaid. So in between the 2 main cropping season, Rabi and Kharif, farmers are practicing Jaid season. The crops which are grown during the Zaid season are watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, vegetable, and fodder crops. So these are all about the three important cropping patterns practiced by farmers in our country, and about the major crops we will discuss in next video. Okay, thank you.